you, George. And ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to elect Mitt Romney and George Allen to save jobs in Virginia? Are you ready to get the greatest country on earth out of debt, back to work by electing Mitt Romney and George Allen in our congressional delegation? I kind of thought so. Well, you look all dried out and recovered from the storm, and boy, God blessed us, didn't he, by giving us only a glancing blow. What great work done by our first responders, our police, our firefighters, our government officials around the state. We're very blessed to have done so well here in Virginia. You know, a month ago, Barack Obama came to Virginia and said, if I don't win Virginia, I won't be president of the United States. Will you help him keep that promise? Now, we love having Mitt Romney here, but you know, we like having Barack Obama and Joe Biden here because they say the darndest things in Virginia, don't they? Like Joe Biden, it's great to be here in North Carolina. And then, of course, still the incredulous remark by President Obama that if you have a business, you didn't build that, somebody else made that happen. Can you believe that he said that? Does that sound like somebody who understands free enterprise and the American dream? Fortunately, we have a candidate that does. I'm delighted to follow George Allen. He was a great reform governor, parole abolition, welfare reform, truth in sentencing, major new standards of education, a great reform governor, and he will be for you a great new United States senator to help turn this country around. Well, I'm so glad to see all you veterans here and all of you that understand the coal industry. Thank you for coming. And all of you that understand that freedom in America is not free. For centuries it's taken the blood, sweat, and tears of American men and women in uniform, patriots like you, to be able to make our country great. 100 years ago this May, my grandfather came from Ireland in search of a new dream, the American dream. Came through Ellis Island, worked in a factory in Massachusetts, and 100 years later his grandson was governor of Virginia. Isn't it a great country? But unfortunately, that great American dream, and all of you have stories like that, that maybe brought some of your forefathers here, that maybe brought you here today in search of a better future for your kids and your grandkids. That American dream, my friends, is under somewhat of an attack right now. And all you have to do is look at the numbers. 23 million people that have no access to the American dream because they can't find a job. 8% unemployment rate for every month of the Obama presidency, except for the first one and the last one. 16 trillion in debt. No president in American history has increased the debt as much as this president. $6 trillion, no budget, and the debt that would go to 21 trillion or more over the next 4 years with his spending plans. The highest number of food stamps in the history of this great nation. The heartache of the people right now because they can't find a job and can't access the American dream. 1 in 6 Americans living in poverty. No coherent energy plan for the country that's blessed with the greatest energy resources in all of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, we need a change in this country, and we need it now. This president's been a bystander now for a year, while these sequestration defense cuts that threaten to devastate, in the words of Secretary Panetta, devastate the United States military in a time of war when our men and women are serving in Afghanistan, defense cuts that will cost 200,000 Virginia jobs, and this president refuses to lead, refuses to pass Eric Cantor's bill to cut out these defense cuts, refuses to take a stand on the men and women in uniform right now. Only Mitt Romney will make that change, and that's why we need a new president of the United States to protect the United States military in a time of war. You know, despite all these new taxes and regulations and unfunded mandates and interference and more bureaucracy from Washington, Virginia's blessed with having some of the lowest unemployment rate now in the Southeast. But think how much better that would be with a President Mitt Romney if we had somebody in the White House that understood job creation and free enterprise and the American dream. Boy, would we be in good shape. We're trying to drill offshore in Virginia to be the first state on the East Coast to do it. We're trying to make that great coal and natural gas industry in Southwest Virginia thrive. This president says no. We need President Romney because he will say yes to new energy jobs in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So fortunately, we have an incredible candidate in Mitt Romney. Let me tell you a little bit about the heart of Mitt Romney. You know people by their vision. In fact, the scriptures say, for lack of vision, the people perish. But the opposite is true. With vision, the people prosper. And for new prosperity in America, we need a new vision. This is a man that turned Massachusetts around with a Democratic legislature and cut $3.5 billion out of their budget to balance the budget without raising taxes. This is a man that turned the Olympics around because he understands how to manage and to lead. This is a man that created over 100,000 jobs in the private sector because he understands entrepreneurship and small business. But I think more importantly, this is a man of great faith and great character that understands that it's free people in a free society, not big government, that's responsible for the greatness of the United States of America. Always has been, always will. And so while we have a surplus of rhetoric and a deficit of results and leadership in Washington, fortunately we have a leader that will say what we need to do, that's got a specific plan for getting the middle class back to work with energy and small business and trade and deficit reduction and workforce development, specific ideas to turn this country around, to replace the excuses and the malaise and the lack of results we're getting in Washington. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me close with this. 5 days. And I know a lot of you have been working hard. In fact, you've been working hard since you elected me, Bill, and Ken in 2009. God bless you. Thank you for getting that done 3 years ago. Thank you for giving Eric Cantor 3 new congressmen in 2010 to help change the United States Congress. Thank you for giving Bill Howell 6 new members of the House of Delegates, the most in the history of the state back in 2011. Thanks for what you've done over the last 9 months for Paul Ryan and Mitt Romney and George Allen and Eric Cantor. But most of all, thanks for what you're going to do these next 5 days. There's still undecided voters out there. Why? I don't know. I'm decided, and I think everybody else should be. But there's still people that haven't decided that Mitt Romney is the best guy for the United States of America. So there's a lot you can do. You can knock on doors. You can send out your emails. You can still make a lot of phone calls. You can tweet or use Facebook. If you don't know how, there's kids up here that are 10 years old. They'll show you how to do it before you leave. You can see people at the synagogue on Saturday, on church on Sunday, around the water cooler on Monday. There's so much you can do. There's thousands of people here. All of you make 5 phone calls. Ask them to make 5 phone calls. You'll get 50,000, 100,000 new votes. Mitt Romney will win Virginia. Mitt Romney will be the next president of the United States, thanks to you and the Commonwealth of Virginia. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to introduce to you my former seatmate in the House of Delegates, Eric Cantor. He has done a terrific job as the majority leader in the United States Congress. He's a true champion for small business. He understands the limited government works best for the people of the United States. He's a champion for the free enterprise system, for the limited foundational principles that Madison and Jefferson and Henry fought for. So please welcome our great leader from the United States Congress, your majority leader, Eric Cantor.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I want to thank all of you for your hard work. And I know it has seemed like an awful long time we've been at this, but let me tell you something. It's just 5 more days. 5 more days. Are you ready to win in 5 days? 5 days. So, we are here today because all of us are concerned about our country. And I know it just speaks to the moral fabric of who we are. that while this state of ours and others certainly to the north have endured a horrific storm, that we are resolute, that we came together, we came with compassion and caring for our fellow citizens. And we are also here today in that spirit because we care about Virginia and we know that Virginia cares about America. That's why we're going to elect George Allen to the Senate and Mitt Romney as our next president. I was in an airport the other day and I met a man who's a home builder. And he came up to me and he told me that he's a home builder, but he had to take a job as a cook in the diner in the restaurant because he couldn't find a position that matched his skills. Now, you know what? We can do better for him. We can do better for the tens of thousands of Virginians and the millions of Americans who are frankly looking for that job to match their skills, and some who've been forced to take one just to make ends meet and pay the bills, and even worse, some who have not a job at all. We can do better, and we are going to do better under Mitt Romney's leadership. Mitt Romney is the only candidate throughout this entire campaign that has had a specific plan to create jobs, to get America back to work and start growing our economy. And there is no doubt about it, we will win with that message here in Virginia. And I know we'll win with your efforts because they're going to pay off. Now look, we all know that the results that have come out of Washington over the last 4 years have not been the kind of results that Virginians deserve or that Americans deserve. And I can tell you this country is in desperate need of a leader who understands, first of all, that reasonable people can disagree, right? I always say, I've been married now almost 23 years. My wife and I don't agree on everything. But you know what? We've been married, we've raised our kids, and we know how to set differences aside. And we know how to come together. That's what this country is built upon, is a spirit of cooperation, of understanding that we've been blessed to be part of this incredible country. Well, Mitt Romney has proven that he's been able to operate in the most difficult environments. As the governor just said, he was the governor of probably the most democratic state in the country. But as a Republican, he sat down with people of different views and perspectives and say, let's figure out what we can agree on, what we can do. Now, this country has got a lot of problems. We know we're spending money we don't have, and that's got to end. We know that Mitt Romney knows how to balance budgets. We know that Mitt Romney knows how to fix the problems that are facing this country. So we need a leader like that in Washington. I can tell you from experience, the man in the White House has fallen short in his job of uniting people and pointing this country in a direction that offers us all hope. He has failed in that effort. I can also tell you, we have tens of thousands of Virginians who dedicate their lives in uniform. Some of you are here. Many veterans that are here know of what I speak because we thank you. And Virginia has a rich heritage in playing a huge role in the defense of this country and the promotion of its national security. And thank you for that. And as Governors Allen and McDonnell have said just before, this president has failed to offer a solution to avoid the defense cuts that potentially could threaten our position as a global military power and could certainly threaten the commitment and the jobs of tens of thousands of Virginians dedicated to the defense industry. Mitt Romney has a plan that will get our country back on track, will strengthen our military, and will send the signal to our allies that we stand for freedom and we stand with those who stand with us. So, without further ado, please join me in welcoming the next President of the United States, Governor Mitt Romney.
What an entrance, huh? It's kind of hard to upstage Bob McDonnell in his own state, but I tried with that bus. My goodness, thank you. What a welcome. Virginia, we're going to win on November 6th, I'll tell you that. Now, there are a few people I want to thank. I want to thank Ricky Skaggs for Skaggs. Boy, I can't get it right. Ricky Skaggs for entertaining. He was just entertaining us just a few miles down the road in Roanoke, and he is a great entertainer, and I appreciate his support and his help and all the work he's doing. And thank you to all these leaders in your state. I got a whole list here to make sure I get them right. And now you just saw the governor, Governor Bob McDonnell. Is Lieutenant Governor Bill Bowling here? I think he is. Isn't he somewhere? Lieutenant Governor, how are you? Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli. Where's the Attorney General? Is he here too? He's somewhere. I don't know where he is, but I've seen pointing fingers. There he is down there. Thank you, Ken. Appreciate your being here. Eric Cantor, Majority Leader you just heard from. Leader Cantor, thank you. And the next great senator from the great Commonwealth of Virginia, none other than Governor George Allen. Governor, thank you. I also want to make mention of the fact that a lot of people across this country are having a real hard time right now, particularly those that were hit by the hurricane. And I hope you'll keep them in your thoughts and prayers. And if you have a few extra dollars, sending them along to the American Red Cross or to the Salvation Army or to other relief organizations can make a difference in the lives of our fellow citizens. We care about them. It's part of who we are as Americans to step forward when people need our help, and this is one of those times. So thank you for the help you provided and for the help you're going to provide.
What about climate? That's what caused this monster storm. Climate.
You know, this is an election of great consequence, and I think you understand that. I know there are some people who believe we should just stay on the current course that we're on. They think things are going just fine right now. I don't believe status quo is the right course for America. I believe that America finally needs real change. It was promised. We're going to give it to the American people. President Obama's campaign slogan is forward. I think a better term would be forewarned. We've seen the results of the last 4 years. We've got a lot of people who are hurting, and they don't want to see another 4 years like the last 4 years. I mean, do you want to see 4 more years with 23 million Americans struggling for a good job? Do you want to see 4 more years with rising taxes? Do you want to see 4 more years with higher and higher gasoline prices? Do you want to see 4 more years with Washington in gridlock? Look, I know that the president wants to see 4 more years, and that's his chant, 4 more years, 4 more years. But our chant is this: 5 more days, all right? 5 more days. Now, the president's been trying to find a new idea, because he knows people aren't happy with what's happened over the last 4 years. We had 3 presidential debates, 1 vice presidential debate, and the president wasn't able to put forward a plan to get the economy going. He just says he's going to do more of the same. And he came out with a brochure lately, a lot of pictures in it. But again, no new ideas to get the economy going. And then he came up with an idea last week. He's going to create a Department of Business, all right? I just don't think another cabinet chair is going to create the jobs that America needs. And so I'm entitled to make sure that we get a president who understands business, as opposed to tries to hire someone to the cabinet who has a background in business. His campaign seems to have been reduced to smaller and smaller things, as people are facing more and more challenges, and he's been looking for an agenda to carry forward in the campaign other than just forward, more of the same. Why, for a while there, he was talking about saving characters on Sesame Street, and then it was word games with my name that he was playing, and then, of course, he got very anxious and went out there and just attacked me day in and day out. Attacking me does not create an agenda for him. And his campaign and his address is all about attacking. We actually have a plan to get this economy going. We're going to put it in place to help the American people. You see, I fundamentally believe in the American people. I believe in America. I believe that America is going to come roaring back if we do what we've done from the very beginning of the country, which is to unleash the freedom and the freedoms of the American people and let them pursue their dreams. And so my plan is based on 5 key steps to get this economy going. And you know what they are? Number 1, take full advantage of our oil, our coal, our gas, our nuclear, and our renewables. This is kind of our economy's ace in the hole right now, because someone discovered not just how to drill into the earth vertically, but then how to go horizontally and to tap into pockets of oil and gas. And so we have a lot more of it than we thought we had. And by virtue of that technology, we can have North American energy independence within 8 years. And that means jobs. That means jobs here in the energy sector as well as in manufacturing. Manufacturing uses a lot of energy, and energy here will be abundant and inexpensive, and so manufacturing is going to come back. And by the way, energy jobs and manufacturing jobs, they create hospitality jobs and restaurant jobs, a lot of jobs. This is a big plus for us, and taking full advantage of it is going to get us working again. That's number 1. Number two, just a little background. We're the most productive nation of any major nation on earth. Now, productive means this. It means that when you add up all the things that are made in America, including all the services that are sold in America, you add them all up and divide them by the number of workers in our workforce, the output per person is greater than other nations. What that means is that trade is good for us. And so opening up new markets for trade, selling our goods, particularly in Latin America. It's a huge market, growing middle class. We could expand there. I want to make trade work for America by opening up markets. And I also want to make sure that if nations cheat, if nations steal jobs by not playing by the rules, we hold them accountable. That's what I'll do with China. We're going to make trade work for America. Now, number three. Number one is energy. Number two is trade. Number three is making sure that our workers have the skills they need. I want to, you know, there are 47 different government training programs in the federal government. Think of that. 47. Reporting to 8 different agencies. Think of all the overhead, all the bureaucracy, all the bureaucrats. I'd like to take those dollars and bundle them up and send back Virginia its fair share and say, Virginia, you run your program for the way you think best for your own people. And I want to fix our schools, too, for the coming generation. I want our kids to have the skills they need as well. I think it's a tragedy that the nation that invented public education is performing in the bottom third or bottom quarter of education accomplishment. It's just unacceptable. I won't go through all of what you have to do. The key, by the way, is all about teachers. It's all about hiring the best and brightest, promoting the very best, making sure they're well compensated. The key is teachers. And to make sure we're focusing on teachers, we got to put the kids at the top, the kids, the parents, the teachers, and the teachers union is going to have to go behind and put the kids first. That's number three. Number four, and this may not immediately connect with why the budget has anything to do with jobs, but let me tell you, if you're an entrepreneur thinking about risking your life savings to start a business, or if you're some big company that's thinking about investing hundreds of millions or billions of dollars building new factories in America, you're not going to do that if you think we're on the road to Greece. And if we keep on spending $1 trillion more than we take in every year, that's the road we're on. And so I commit to you that I will do everything in my power to cut federal spending, to cap federal spending, and finally get us on track to a balanced budget so we can create more jobs here. And number five is this. I want to champion small business. I want to make it easier for small business. Look, I was just a few moments ago at Bill's Barbecue. Some of you know Bill's Barbecue in town here? Yeah. They used to have quite a few restaurants, as many as 200 employees. The owner of Bill's just told me that she's going to close her doors. Business is closing up. And I said, why? And she said, taxes, federal regulations, and then she also said Obamacare. Taxes, regulations, and Obamacare. Those three things are crushing small businesses across America. You realize, let me just take you through the calculation on taxes. If you're a small business, a successful one, you can calculate how much you're going to give to the government. I spoke to a guy in St. Louis who was in electronics business, 4 employees. He and his son calculated how much they send to government. With federal income tax, which is as high as 35%, payroll tax, state income tax, state sales tax, real estate tax, gasoline tax. I mean, you add all these up, they said over 50% of what their business makes, they send to government. Now, he said, think about this, Mitt. He said, you know, when you start a small business, your chance of succeeding is not real high. I mean, the failure rate on small businesses is pretty significant. And he said, and if you're lucky enough to succeed, then the government wants more than half of what you make. And because of that, businesses are less likely to get started and to hire people. And so I want to make sure that we bring our tax rates down. The president wants to raise taxes on small business. I will not raise tax on small business or on middle-class America. We've also got to get regulators to see that regulators have to see that their job is in helping businesses, not killing them. Big business can handle regulations, by the way. Great big businesses can handle it. Oh, it slows them down, but they can handle it because they got all the lawyers in the world. Small business gets crushed by regulation. Got to make it easier for small businesses. And by the way, Obamacare, that's one of the things that I heard from Bill's Barbecue, and that is, boy, Obamacare, the cost per employee was just backbreaking. They couldn't possibly see how to finance it. And so one thing we got to do if we want to keep jobs is to get rid of Obamacare and replace it with real reform that doesn't crush small business. Now, by the way, let me just ask the leader over here. Leader Cantor, when was the last time you met with the president on the economy or jobs, on the budget? He says almost a year. We'll have to go back and check the calendar. Let me tell you, for me to get the things done I just described, I'm going to have to reach across the aisle and meet with good Democrats who love America just like you love America. And there are good Democrats like that. I'm going to meet regularly with Democrat leaders and Republican leaders. I won't do that once a year. When I say regularly, I mean much more frequently than that. Because we're going to have to work together. These are critical times. This is an election of consequence. This is an election where I think we're not going to just shape the country for 4 years, but for a generation. And so it's important that we have a president who understands how to work across the aisle. I was elected governor in a state, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We have a few Democrats in my state. My legislature's 85% Democrat, or was when I was governor. 85%. We had a multi-billion-dollar budget gap. We didn't go to work attacking each other. We went to work to try and do the people's business, as the Senate president said to me. He said, you know, the campaign's over. We've got to do the people's business. And we did. We cut state spending. We didn't just slow down its rate of growth. We actually cut it. We balanced the budget every year. A $3 billion budget gap became a $2 billion rainy day fund. This has to happen in Washington, and I will bring it to Washington with your help. Now, I want you to know, I'm excited about the prospects for our country. I'm not down in the dumps. I know we face real challenges, real concerns. But the American people are innovative, creative, can-do, entrepreneurial, hard-working. The American people have what it takes to come out of these tough times if we got the right person leading our nation. And if we pull together. I've seen the greatness of the American spirit time and again. Over my lifetime, I've seen something about the great character of the American heart. I have a favorite story I've been telling across the country about a time when I served as a Boy Scout leader. I was, any Boy Scouts here? Boy Scouters? Yeah, we got a few here. Thank you, guys, and some moms who also help in that program. I was at the front of the Boy Scout Court of Honor room at the gymnasium. Boy Scout Court of Honors, where you get Eagle Scout awards or other awards. I was seated at the end of the table next to the American flag that was there on a little flagpole. And the person who was speaking at the podium was the Scoutmaster from Monument, Colorado. And he spoke, wow, there's a Coloradan right there. And he spoke about how his troop wanted to have a very special American flag. So they bought one, had gold tassels around the outside. They sent it off to be flown above the Capitol, and it was. Then when it came home, they contacted NASA and said, would you take the flag up on the space shuttle? They agreed. He said the boys were so proud looking from their classrooms and watching TV, seeing the space shuttle Challenger launch into the air, and then they saw it explode on TV. And he said he contacted NASA and said, have you found any remnant of our flag? And they hadn't. He said it called every week for months, still nothing. And then one day he was reading an article in the paper about some of the debris from the Challenger disaster, and they mentioned something about a flag. And he called NASA, and they said, we have a presentation to make to you and your boys. So the boys and NASA came together, and they were presented with this plastic container. And he said, we opened the container, and there was our flag in perfect condition. And then he said, and that's it on the flagpole next to Mr. Romney at the end of the table. And I reached over and pulled out the flag, and it was as if electricity was running through my arm, because I thought about the men and women on that space mission, thought about the people in our space program that put themselves in harm's way, recognizing that they are promoting learning, pioneering for us. They give of themselves to others. Our men and women in uniform give and have given of themselves for us to protect our freedom, to promote our prosperity, to promote our way of life. There's so many heroes of different kinds in our society. It's part of the American experience to live for something bigger than yourself. I think we're a nation of heroes. They say that being a hero is not being bigger than life. It's being bigger than yourself. And Americans live for things bigger than themselves. I think of all the single moms who right now are scrimping and saving to make sure they have a good meal to put on the table at the end of the day for their children. My sister's in her 70s, and she has 8 children. And of her 8 children, the first 7 are all married with children of their own. The 7th was born Down syndrome. He's now 43. Lynn's in her 70s. Her husband passed away a few years ago. Lynn devotes her time and her life to the care of her son, to make sure he has as an abundant and full a life as he possibly can. She's a hero to me. I think of all the couples across America that have decided not to exchange gifts this year so they can have a little more for their kids to have a great Christmas. I think of all the dads and the moms who are working 2 jobs so they have enough money to buy the kind of clothes for their kids the other kids are wearing at school so they won't stand out. We're a nation of people with big hearts who care very deeply about things bigger than ourselves, our families, our parents, our community, our schools, our churches and synagogues, our state, our nation. It's who we are as a people. And this is a critical time for us. I know the people of Virginia have very clear eyes. You can see the consequence of this election. I know as Americans you have full hearts. There was a TV show some time ago about a fictional football team that on their way out into the gridiron, they typically were running against high odds. They'd touch a sign as they walked out the door. It said, "Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose." And I'm convinced that we're going to come together on November 6th. You with your clear eyes and your full hearts. We cannot lose. We've got to bring back America. We've got to do what it takes to keep this nation strong, to build an economy that puts our people to work, that guarantees a bright future for our children. I love you. I thank you. We're going to win with your help. Thank you so very much.